Hey everybody. All right, just finishing up chores here, doing the farm by myself on this Saturday, so it's about midday. But thought we'd show you what we have here for a 100 feeder pig group out on the pasture. And so we'll flip the camera around and show you what's going on with all these guys. All right, so it's been a interesting year to say the least, 2020. And for us, it has doubled to tripled our sales and just the volume of demand that we've had. So we are growing a lot more pigs. So we are running multiple groups like this right now, just trying to hit a real high production level for next year, and other issues we're working through with processing and all that, but that's a separate video. But looking here at how we run these big groups, you can see a little bit further down the valley here that all the way down there where it's nice and green, that is where they were 2 weeks ago, and that's been overseeded with barley and is growing back up since we got a little rain last week. Right here, that is where they were until 3 days ago, and here they are in their current paddock. So the way that we size our paddocks is by how many nets it takes to enclose it. And so this one here is what we would call a 2x1. So we are using the 100-foot sections of Premier quick nets, as you can see here. And so this paddock is 2 nets down and 1 net across, so roughly 20,000 square feet, so just under half an acre size. And this will last them about a week, maybe to 10 days if we don't have enough time to get them moved. But we'll walk in here and just preview some of the gear that we're using. These particular groups of pigs, we've started holding back more of our prime piglets for ourselves, which normally would have been sold off, and we tend to finish out a lot of the more runty ones, or ones that don't look very well for ourselves, ones that we wouldn't want to sell. So you see a mixed bag of pigs in here. You've got one like this guy right there, very fine looking hog, probably a 100-pounder, and then you got this little guy right here. He's what we would call a Skeletor, but he's just kind of a runty one, and we have them in here and they'll do what they do and grow out. And so we give them a chance the same as we would a nice pig like this guy right here. We use the Brower 85-gallon drinkers for these guys. And it has a float valve inside the lid there, coming up to the elbow. And then this is a Flexzilla 3/8-inch air hose, which runs way over there to where our water line is, and that keeps these guys tanked up with water. We started using these bases on them so that we can move them around easily with the tractor, and also so that this area right in front of the drinker space does not get rooted up in the ground and a hole dug out. So they have to stand on the platform now to get their drink of water. A little bit on the nets. We have used the nets solely before, but we, for the last several years, use the nets and an interior wire. So if you've watched the video on training pigs to fence, it goes into more detail on how we do this, but essentially this is a method that we use that is pretty much 100% containment. We very rarely, if ever, have a breakout once pigs are trained to this type of fence. So the net here is strictly a visual representation of the fence. They, I think in trying to understand pig psychology, they see that the same as they would the hog panel when they're in the weaning pen, so they know, hey, I can't cross there. And then right down in front is the electric wire, which gives them the little, let's just say, reaffirmation that they shouldn't be crossing that line. And when we move them, this net will just go over the wire to this side after they're moved over, and so we can use the same run for the new paddock. And this is what a new area that they're about to go into looks like. So we're here in the fall. When we feed a lot of apples, we're probably feeding 3-4 tons of apples a week to both our feeder pigs and our sows, but this is just brought up by the tractor bucket in the evening and just dumped out on the ground, and they nibble at it as they please. So we've got plenty of shade in these paddocks. You either want to have trees bushes or wagons with shade, or whatever, but you want shade for your feeder pigs, especially in these bigger groups. You need to make sure that you have adequate shade. Otherwise, there will be competition for that shade, which can cause them some stress. All right, so looking up here, we also want to make sure our pigs are bedded. We're here into the fall, and so it was 30 degrees this morning, and we want to make sure they have enough bedding to nest into and be warm in those cool evenings. So we just use junk hay, which we've been able to get a lot of from cow guys around us who make hay, and inevitably they have some hay that gets rained on that can't be used, and so we're able to buy those bales at a pretty cheap price, and we were able to use them for the pigs. Just dump it out at the top of the hill, let it unroll down the hill, and they'll turn it into nests and bedding to lounge around in. Like you can see this guy right here, he's having him a little nap in the sun. What's going on there, buddy? He is in a deep sleep, but he is alive. I saw the tail flapping around. And there's another group up there under the tree. And when we move them on, this hay will just simply stay here and rot into the ground. Had a lot of questions over the years about the IBC feeders, and we're very close to doing a build video. This is probably one of the more complicated farm devices that I've ever built, just to get it dialed in correctly to where pigs can eat out of it, but it's not overflowing. But this is the IBC feeder that you may have seen in the fringes of pictures or outside on videos. This has gone through 4 prototypes to get to what we are now using, and there will be a build video on this in the future. And these are actually previous prototypes that have been retrofitted to our final design. So you can see the lids are a little bit different, and then even on the final one they'll be different than this. But stand by for that video coming out sometime, let's say this fall. We got to build a few more, but I will give a little teaser on it that essentially this is a 1,500 pound bulk feeder. We found you need about 1 per 50 pigs. That costs, let's say, less than 300 bucks. I know pressure treated lumber is going up, and IBC tanks are a variable cost depending on where you are, but this is a low cost bulk feeder, and we pretty much got the design dialed in. So we'll be sharing that with you guys sometime in the near future. Stand by for that. All right, so just a little look around here from the top. A little bit on the pasture itself. We only will run pigs over this 2 times a year. It is on a hill, so we want to be careful about them pushing soil down and having a lot of impact on the ground. So we want to keep them moving steady. And so this is the 2nd time for this year that pigs have been through this particular area, and there won't be anything through here again probably till next spring, because we want the plants to reestablish and hold on to the soil. So about 100 pigs here in this group, various sizes. Like I said, we've got a combination of nice feeder pigs that we've started keeping for ourselves, and then just kind of the runty ones from other big groups of piglets. We've sold a couple thousand piglets this year, so we end up having some runtier ones and ones that we would also affectionately call skeletors, that for one reason or another are just unhealthy, and we give them the best shot that we can. You may have seen 1 or 2 of them around in the video here, but this is the scenery from over here, what we call the other side of our farm. And I'm going to wrap this up here and head back to the house, get some lunch, and go on to what's going on with the rest of my day. So appreciate everyone watching the video, spending 10 minutes here with me checking on this group of pigs. Feel free to drop any comments or questions that you got. I do read all those and get back to them as I can. And until next time, remember, on your farm, when you're out there in the field, be safe, and remember to keep getting after it and raising food. It's more important than ever. We'll catch you next time.